It's been a while since we've spoken about her, but I have news about anti-gay, bigoted, outrageous, vile, despicable, wannabe legal scholar, habitual scofflaw, Kentucky County Clerk Kim Davis. You'll remember she made headlines over the summer by ignoring that Supreme Court ruling about gay marriage nationwide. She continued to deny marriage licenses to same-sex couples. Now that things have calmed down a little bit, she sat down with the president of the D. James Kennedy Ministries. His name is Frank Wright. And she explained, and I know you might say, well, hold on a second. What on earth does she know about this? A great question. She explained why she believes that she was legally justified in what she did. Her argument is the Supreme Court doesn't really have authority. I present to you legal scholar Kim Davis.
Guidance. And so it was totally unjust for them to argue that you were violating the law in that the Supreme Court has no authority to make law. They can strike down a law but not make it. Is that how you saw it?
Exactly, and we had made that point many times. My office is mandated through statutes. And those statutes had not been addressed. Actually, the statute still remains that it is illegal for a county clerk to issue a license to a couple of the same sex. That's not been amended. That's not been ratified or turned down or anything like that. So all those statutes are now being addressed with the new bills that are being presented on the Senate and the House floor. So, but yeah, I was upholding my law. I was upholding my law. I was obeying my law. And that's what people failed. You know, I had couples bring in the whole Supreme Court ruling, and I said, you know, I really don't need to see this because that's not a law, that's a ruling. And, well, why won't you do this? And so then I go to the Bible and I tell them, don't be telling me the Bible, don't be reading me the Bible. I said, well, you asked why I couldn't issue you the marriage license. And I'm explaining to you and I'm showing you why I cannot.
So wait a second, let's buy into her logic for a second. A ruling is not a law. Okay, the Supreme Court ruling from the highest court in the land isn't enough to tell you what to do in your role as a public employee, but you can show people the Bible to explain why you're not doing something as a public employee. This is a really, really important thing. I know Kim Davis is a nut. I know she wants to use the Bible to make civil law. I got it, right? She wants statutes based on the Bible. This idea, though, that courts and judges can't make law, that they can strike down a law, but they can't make it, really common idea among many extremist elements of the right. You have the states' rights conservatives who like this idea. You have the small government right-wingers who like this idea. You have the sovereign citizens and patriot movement hate group types who say the Supreme Court cannot make law. We have statutory law, right? Explicit statutes that have been codified, but we also have case law. This is law developed by judges and courts in decisions where it's true, it's an individual case that is decided, but they have precedential effect on future cases. You may not like this if you're bigoted county clerk Kim Davis, but just saying courts can't make law doesn't make it true. Courts make law all the time via something called case law decisions.
Yeah, and on top of that, whatever that Supreme Court ruling was, it superseded whatever town, city, county laws or statutes she's talking about.
Well, the argument is that the case was brought only by plaintiffs, and I believe it was 3 states, so that the ruling only applies to those 3 states. No, Kim, that's not the way it works. And I used to think Kim Davis was only a bigot, as if that's just not that bad, right? But now I realize she's also incompetent, but dangerously so. She's what we call a useful idiot, Lewis. That's a political term. It's not an ad hominem. There's a political term called a useful idiot. I encourage you to research that, and it really fits Kim Davis perfectly. Gamefly is sort of like Netflix for video games. They have over 8,000 new and classic games for Xbox One, Xbox 360, PS4, PS3, Wii, and a bunch of other platforms. And you can play as many games as you want for one monthly fee. And if you find some games you want to keep, you can buy them for a low used price. There's never any due dates or late fees. And our audience can get a free 30-day trial at gameflyoffer.com/TDPS. The games are shipped directly to you with return envelopes included. There's no contracts, and you can rent games through the mobile app. Get the free 30-day trial for the David Pakman Show audience and support our show by going to gameflyoffer.com/TDPS.